It's difficult in the sense that, by definition, everything at the fair is high quality. But what you're looking for is something that is either outstandingly rare or of absolutely astonishing quality, or that has some amazing historical association. It just has to have that little bit of extra. The winning object is a very tall, 7-foot tall, Swedish porphyry, shallow vase on a stand, a massive object. It comes from a house called Einho, and it was given to the British ambassador by the Swedish king around the middle of the last century. We chose it because cutting porphyry with the tools they had at that time is such an extraordinary achievement. It's as big as those huge Russian vases made for the Tsars, but it's got a very fine, elegant line to it, as well as being this technical achievement. It really stands out, also for its history. So the two silver runners-up are first an amazing manuscript that's on the stand of Dr. Günther from Germany. It is a 15th century manuscript with 22 colour illustrations and 10 black and white, sounds like a modern photo book, doesn't it, of the prophecies attributed to Joachim da Fiore, who was a 13th century person who probably didn't write them anyway, but what they sort of were into Umberto Eco, Dan Brown territory slightly here, but at the time these were anti-papal prophecies, deliberately extremely obscure. And the illustrations, which are very, very fine and sort of outline, coloured in, are an example of how artists at the time had to invent new subjects, because it wasn't just following the traditional iconography of, you know, the crucifixion, the nativity and so on. Here were these mad prophecies, and so they're extremely eccentric and varied illustrations. It's desperately rare manuscript and a real treasure. The second silver winner is just a very rare, complete survival. It's a Hercules in bronze, Roman, on Rupert Wace's stand. And usually these things come down to one sort of very broken. This actually has its original pedestal. It has the lion's pelt over his arm. And it is incredibly finely chased. And it's no insult to it if you say it could have been a Renaissance object, because in the Renaissance they were counterfeiting these Roman bronzes. And usually if you find one very, very intact, it's a Renaissance object, but this is a Roman object. Then there is the last object, which gets highly commended, is a very small object. Now the small objects inevitably are rather hard to choose between because there's so many of them. But on the Tadema stand, there is a bracelet, French, by a man called Félix Rousselot, and there's another one by him in the Louvre, in the neo-Gothic style called troubadour, sort of spiky, highly coloured, enamelled, 2-colour gold gem set bracelet. It just is extremely fine, and we thought that that deserved special mention. The judges thought that the Fine Arts Society had the best stand because they were aiming at a new, rather simple style with very good sight lines. It was very considerate. It allowed you to look beyond it and through it to other people. It didn't sort of shut you off from the rest of the fair. They particularly liked the fabric with which it had been hung. The thing that all the winning stands have in common is they make very good use of space. There are 3 runners-up. The 2 silver medalists are the Osborne Samuel, which again makes very good use of space. It has a sort of airy feel to it. And Finch & Co., who have a kind of cabinet of curiosity feel to them. And they have objects of very different scale, some of them really quite small. They've managed to make you feel intrigued by what they've got on display, and the little objects get as much of your attention as the big ones. And highly commended is Greg Baker of Asian Art, who has a sort of difficult stand, sort of on a corner, but he has these absolutely beautiful Japanese screens, and again he's placed them very well, and in the finest Japanese tradition, his flower arrangements are quite exquisite.